The next generation of MPCs are out, and with the next generation of MPCs mean new videos from me. This time around, I will be covering the MPC One Gen 2, which has a whole bunch of new tricks under its hood, and I want to go ahead and give you that beginner's guide that you deserve. And if you're interested in further teachings, I have a masterclass that I have linked in the description box or attached to this video. Just let me know how you feel. The first thing that we need to talk about is registering your new MPC One that you have purchased. First thing that every MPC user should do is register your MPC at akaipro.com. So go to the top right side of the screen and click on this human icon and make you an account. Just make sure that you register it. After creating your account, sign in. After signing in for the first time, go to register new product, then put in the serial number. The serial number is located on your box, on the top side of your box. If you threw the box away, it will be on the back of the unit. After registering your product, you should see the MPC One Gen 2 right here. Then all you have to do is click on view downloads. I recommend installing the InMusic brand software center. In the InMusic brand software center, you will click on my hardware and then you will find your MPC One G2. If you find your MPC One G2, you will see that there will be drivers that you can download and also the software itself. If you've been down this road before and you already know what you're doing, then make sure that you go into your menu, your preferences, by tapping on the button twice, and then make sure that you have all your stuff activated if you have any plugins or any of that stuff. While we're on the preference screen, you should visit things like MIDI sync and customize your MIDI options. What I like to do is just set it up for send and receiving MIDI. You can go to hardware and you can set up your screen. Like for an example, I like to keep my screen on dim so that you can see what's going on the screen. You have brighter, brightest, and other things as well. You can set up your sequencer. You can set up the PPQN, which by default is 96, which by the way, I should talk about in another video because some people think that the new MPCs don't have the same PPQN as the old MPCs. You can set up project defaults, which allow you to set up your BPM for success. Like if you want to make nothing but 90 BPM beats, boom bappity stuff, then you can set it up for boom bappity stuff. You can also change colors and whatever plugin you like to load up first. Now that we got all that stuff out the way, let's talk about making your first beat on the MPC. When you turn on your MPC for the first time, you'll get this stuff where you have to configure things so you'll be able to use it. However, you will see new project at the bottom left side of the touchscreen. Let's go ahead and do that. Now we're on the main screen, and here's a few things that you need to know. So the top left side of the screen is your project and its name. Right now is untitled because we have not saved it. We'll talk about that in a second. But the first part of it right here is the sequence. You'll find that you have multiple sequences. And the other thing that I need to tell you is that whenever you set your sequence up from a different BPM, if we go to another sequence, it is by default whatever your default BPM is. So it is unique. Your sequences are unique all the way through. The next part of the screen is your track part. So basically you have multiple tracks that you can add. And then right over here, you have your arrangement tab, which allows you to mess with the arrangement. If I was to enter something in, it will show up right here. More about that later. Right now, we're on a drum program by default. And you can see all the waveforms right in front of you as you press on the pads. You can pull up different kinds of tracks by hitting new track at the bottom left side of the screen. If you tap on the screen, you'll see you have an audio track, a drum track, a plugin track, a key group, a MIDI track, and CV track. If you press the advanced feature and you select a drum track or whatever track that you want to do, you can also add as many tracks as you want. Like for an example, I want to do more than one track, then I can do more than one track. I can do 9 tracks. So if we do 9 tracks, now we have 9 drum tracks. And if you made a mistake in any way, you have this first button right here that I want to introduce you to because it'll be your best friend, which is the undo button. Now, if I was to go through the tracks, I don't have any tracks anymore. Also, you have a pencil sign right here in which it gives you all of your track options, such as copy track, duplicate track with events, delete track, merge pads, merge track, copy pads, explode track, and edit pad note map. Hit the cancel button, and then you will be back on this screen, which is the main screen, a very important screen. Now let's talk about picking sounds from the default stuff that you get inside, because we're going to work with stock sounds. On the MPC One G2, you have a load button right here. And when you press on the load button, then you'll see things like places. So if you have an SD card of any type, then you can load sounds from there. You can even go over here to the expansion area, and then you have this content area that is specific for many different things. What we're going to do is start from the expansions, and I'm going to use an expansion that is included with your MPC. The expansion that we're using is called the Producer Essentials. And here's a few things. You'll notice that there's a search bar. So with this search bar, once you tap on it, you get this touch keypad. So if I want a trap sound, I would just type in trap, and then it'll bring in all the trap sounds. So if I wanted to go to something like this wave file right here, if I just want to look at wave files, then I'll just hit this wave file icon. If I want to look at projects, then I would hit this P right here. If I want to look at MIDI, if there's MIDI available, then I will get MIDI. And then these four little pads represent what you call expansions. So when you touch on the screen here, you'll get these previews. And these previews are interesting, to say the least. You can turn them down, all the way down, off. You can turn it to where it is not on when I play. You can hit the stop button on your MPC, and it will stop the expansions from playing or the previews from playing. You can also have it sync to your BPM and or warp it. So that's what all that means. What I'm going to do is pick out something from this expansion. Now I have this right here, this R&B kit that's called No Sleep, and it is in a C minor. It's 130 BPM. What you can do to audition it again is press this play button, and that's how it sounds. And then you can choose to load into a new track or just load into the existing track. So we're going to load it into the existing track. Once we load it in there, we can play with the pads and see what we got. What I would normally do in this instance here is press the main button. You need to get used to pressing this button right here, which is your main button, which takes you to your main screen. I recommend just giving a play around with your drums so you know what you're going to deal with. So and you'll notice off top, like, the pads are velocity sensitive. So what I usually do as an MPC head, just so I don't miss out or get any ghost notes, is I turn on full level right over here, and it gives me the full level no matter what. And I just mix accordingly from there. So, you know, so. So what we're going to do is just lay something out real quick. The first thing we'll do is go to our BPM, because if we was to do overdub and play start, that is not what we want, right? Matter of fact, I actually like that BPM, the 96 BPM. The next thing we'll do is we'll set up our bars. Now you can set your bars up right here. It's by default 2 bars. If you set the project default to anything else, it will be whatever that is. So I can just put it on 4 bars and then just go in, or I could just put it on 2 bars. And what I normally do is I go into this pencil sign, which controls everything with the sequence here. And then I do what you call double length. So it's two times. And now I got 4 bars. It's just a different way to work. Now, there is a difference in when you're recording. You have overdub and play start, which will overdub anything that exists. So if you don't want to erase anything, because you have record and play start, which will start from the very beginning. And if you was to, let's lay that out real quick. Now, if I was to do record and play start again, just to do some more, you'll notice right off top that nothing played, and that's because you're overwriting what you just did. Now, again, remember, undo is your friend. You'll undo it. And now we'll add this in there in some part of the beginning. 2, 3, 4. Now, and you can exit out or overdub at any time once you got everything going. There's another thing. If you want stuff to be loose or if you don't want it to be quantized, there's a button over here that says TC on and off. What you could do is click on that and you can turn off timing correct, and then you can have stuff kind of go wild or whatever you want. What I like to do is press and hold shift. And once you press and hold shift, then you go into your global timing and you can set up your timing correct from right here, because by default it's 1/16. But you have other time divisions that you can go through, like 4/4, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, 1/32, 1/64. You can also do triplets. You can change the type from start end, the event to all. You can add swing if you want to swing. You can shift the timing so that the timing can be off. You could do that for one or all the tracks, by the way. You can change the window and the strength of the quantize or the timing correct. But that's not all though. Let's just say you wanted to do something to make these shakers faster. Like you wanted instances of that. Well, if you press and hold the note repeat button, like I'm doing right now, then you can do these faster time signatures. And since everything is quantized, we don't have to worry about a thing but to do that. You can also latch it too. So you could double tap on the button and it will latch on the screen. You'll see it right there in front of you. And let's go ahead and overdub and add extra parts. And now everything is done and you're good to go. Now, another exciting feature, which we can talk about right now, is your cue links. Now, if you touch the cue links on your MPC, you can see you have track levels. So this track can be turned up and down by doing this right here. You also have your playhead, and then you also have metronome enabled. So what I'll do is I'll turn the metronome enabled off, because I don't need a click anymore because we have the track. Now, the other thing I want you to understand is that you need to set your quantize back, or your timing correct, to 1/16 to work in 1/16, and then we'll just turn off note repeat so it's off the screen. Now we'll add this in. Now we got some melodics in there. I like that. Now, if we pay attention to this part of the screen right here on the track, it tells you that it is a C minor. We want to use that information for what we're going to do next. So the next thing we're going to do is add a new track. Then we're going to select a plugin. And from here, we have Tube Synth, but we want to go ahead and move to a plugin that I think would be suited for it. And that plugin will be Hype Synth. So we'll find Hype Synth right here. We'll add it in, and then you can either click on this part of the screen right here, which will pull up the UI of Hype Synth, or we can press the main button, and then we can press the track edit button, which is located right here. Press the track edit button. Now we can see our UI for Hype Synth. Now you can select a preset. I'm going to go ahead and select that preset. We'll use this preset called Gentle Analog right here. And now we won't even mess with this, because I want to show you that you can play notes on the pads without using a MIDI keyboard or something like that. Press and hold the shift button, and then we're going to press the 16 levels button right here. And now you're in Pad Perform. Now in Pad Perform, you can set up your notes. You can play chromatically. So what we'll do is just go over here to scale, and we'll set it to a C minor. You can also set up your octaves using either the banks right over here, you can go and play chords by selecting chords. You can also play on the screen too, but I don't normally do that. There's chromatic chords, but what we want to use is progressions. So within your MPC, you have progressions. And since we know that it is a C minor, we can go into any of these sets and select them. I will select one. What I have selected is Jazz 1. And as you can see over here, it says it starts off with a D minor 7 flat 5, but you can start with a G minor. So this chord set feels good to me. What I'll do is I'll just run through it to, practice. I will turn down the volume right over here. So let's turn down the volume by going into the main screen. Let's press play start and then begin. So I like that. Let's record that in. I like that so far. What I'll do now is this. What I don't like about what I just did is I thought the chords were a little too high. I could have changed it by changing the banks and it would have been on point. But just in case, you like everything and you just don't have the patience, you can go over here and you can transpose down. So we can transpose down 12 semitones and now represent an octave. And if we want to, we can switch sounds on the fly. And I like this percussive pan pipes preset. Everything is done. What I'll do is I'll just type in a name here so I remember what that track is. I'll call it chords right here. So you have to press and hold on the screen right here. And by the way, you can change the position of whatever you just laid down. So if you wanted your chords to be on track 1, you can change it to track 1, and I'll show you real quick. Now it's on track 1. Let's say we don't want it on track 1, we want it on track 2. We'll change the position to 2. Now it is on track 2. Let's fill out the track with a bass line so that we have some kind of dynamic range. So we'll work with another plugin so that we have everything together. So we'll just press plugin. This time we will select Jura because Jura does come for free with the MPC One G2. So let's go ahead and find Jura and we'll open it. Now that we have Jura open, we can explore those sounds later. What we're going to do is press and hold Shift and then go back into Pad Perform. And from here, we'll go into Notes mode. And as you can hear, since it's already set to a C natural minor, everything is kind of working in tandem with the beat. If you want to lower your octave anymore, well, you can lower the octave by making sure that you select C because that is the scale or whatnot, and you see that it's an octave 3, fat fingers here. I'm going to go ahead and go to octave 1 and then select the C there. And then now we got some girth to that. The preset used is sub bass 3. Let's get it. So let's go ahead and record it in. All right. Love it. Now we have a bass line laid down. Let's go ahead and name that part of the track bass. This is something that you should get into habit of doing, is naming your tracks. So that way you have an idea of what you're going to work with when we go down the line. This time around, I will use the pencil sign because I just want the track itself. Boom. And now I'll say bass 1. We're going to do a melodic. So we'll call it melody. Hit do it, close it, and then we'll pick out a sound. We picked out a sound called cotton. It's in the plucks category. A general rule of thumb for me when I do melodies is not to do too much. That's my thing. So let's go ahead and begin. Record and play start. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we have to, we can turn up the volume so you can hear it. And something great happened there, which I'm pretty sure you recognize. There was a sound that was off, and that makes me happy because now we can talk about this button right here, which is grid editing, which would be normally called a piano roll. So when we go into the piano roll, we can investigate it with these tools. So you have this magnifying glass right here, which allows you to do things like pull and pitch, so you can see, what is off. And it looks like this note right here. You have a selection tool, so you can select what MIDI note that you want to work with or event that you want to work with. In this instance here, you have erase tool. So if we select the erase tool, then we can erase it. If we don't want that erased, then you hit the undo button, as you guess. And you can also draw stuff in. You can see it. I can draw 2 things in there, and we'll just leave that in there for the moment. But this is another thing that I want to talk about. So now that we have a closer look at the piano roll, or what is known as the grid edit on the MPC, we can get an analysis of what we want to do. So the main thing, again, is you have this magnifying glass, which allows you to pull and pitch. Then you have the selection tool. So if you can select events, you have this erase tool just in case you want to erase something. And then you have this pencil sign just in case you want to draw something in. And from here, it can get a little bit more tricky, but it's not. Once we select whatever, you have these options down here. You can hit this drop down menu or drop up menu, however you want to say it. You can mess with the velocity. So if you want to draw in the velocity, you could. In this instance here, I got to use the selection tool so I can get access to it. And then from here, I can just draw stuff in. Boom. Simple as that. And I can mess with the velocity. There's other options that you have right over here. From velocity, you can do probability, ratchet, and so forth. I'm not going to get too drawn up in it. I'm going to let you explore that, but it's just all about awareness here. If I want to get it out the way, I just hit the drop down arrow here. And if we want to select this MIDI event, which is off right here, then we can select that MIDI event. And you could do things like don't snap. So if you roll it over, it won't snap to the grid. And if you want it to snap to grid, you just turn don't snap off. And then you have nudge, which allows you to nudge stuff over. So now I nudged it over. What if I want longer notes? So I can edit the start point of that note right here. I can edit the end. And I can also transpose it up or down using this data wheel over here. You also have automation, which we're not going to get into in this video, not as of yet. But one thing I do want to talk about is probability. When you go over here to probability, that's where things could get very extravagant. What I will do is I'll select the magnifying glass so I can get a full look at the grid. And then I will select the pencil so I can draw stuff in. Now, probability. Now, if it's all the way to the top, that means the notes will play at 100% of the time. If I lower it to something like 75%, that means it will play 75% of the time. So if I was to do maybe this note right here, maybe I don't want it to play all the time, then it will play some of the time, but it won't play all of the time. And that's how probability works. And that is basically the grid in a nutshell. Now, what I want to do is just use one of these notes right over here. Let's go ahead and draw that all the way down. Then we'll select the magnifying glass so that we don't touch the screen and mess with anything. I'll play it. And you'll notice that it did not play the second note. And that time it did play it. I just had to run it through a few times. And that's great for making some extravagant melodics or whatnot without even trying. So let's go ahead and add a new track, because I'm pretty sure you got a flow, an idea of how it flows. So we'll add another plugin, because we can on the MPC One Gen 2, because it has way more power than all the older MPCs. If you were wondering why you should buy it, I'm not here to convince you on that. I'm here to teach. But I'm going to go ahead and add some strings. I'll just pull up Hype Synth again on this new track, but I want to do a pop quiz. See, I have nothing but strings right here, but they're only playing one note. How would I change that to where I can get those progressions again? There you go. I'm pretty sure you answered it correctly. You would press and hold Shift, and then you would hit the 16 levels button and then go back to progressions. Let's go ahead and enter that in. Press the main button. Let's go through some of the presets. Lower the volume. And we pretty much have created most of the beat there. Again, name it. Let's go ahead and name it strings so that we know what we got going on. We like the position of it. Let's scroll back to the expansion or the drum track and add some more stuff. Let's go ahead and add that in. And I'm asking you guys, what is the proper way to record this new stuff on this same track? If you guess right, then it is overdub and play start. And it will give us a count. 2, 3, 4. Given point, we can add some more stuff if we want to. If we want to add that, we added that stuff. So everything seems to be good. Now, one thing as a bonus tip, I normally just say this for the masterclass or whatever the case may be, but I don't want to gatekeep. What I want to do is make sure that everybody is making beats the way they want. So if you want to separate your tracks on your drum track, you can. And on the MPC Gen 2, it makes it easier for that to be accomplished, especially in 3.0. All you have to do is hit this pencil sign. Once you hit the pencil sign over here, then you would hit explode track right here. And once you explode the track, it will go through the process of exploding the track. And then you have multiple instances. And funny enough, if you have anything that you had chopped up and it's in a mute group, it will be in its own individual track. So, it will expand upon things that we got. So now we have a total of 12 tracks, and most of these tracks, or some of these tracks, are plugins and so forth. Now I'm going to show you the classic way of laying out your beat so that you can have a full-on beat without no problem. We have this sequence in the sequence 1. We want to keep that sequence 1, but what we want to do is copy that sequence. So you would hit this pencil sign right over here. We're going to copy this sequence to the next sequence, which is sequence 2. We'll name this full beat. After making it full beat, we'll hit do it. And now we're on our sequence 2, which is our full beat. And it is taking all the characteristics of the first sequence, and now we're good. What I normally do in this instance here is I will hit the pencil sign, and then I will double the length once, which makes it 8 bars. then this makes it 16 bars. So it's doubling it. Now it's 32. And now we can get it to 64. Now we want to work with 64 bars. You can work with more bars if you want. I just want to keep it simple for this video. Now that we have a full beat, what we're going to do here is go into track mutes, which is this button right here. And as you can see, the screen is flashing. And what that means, if the screen is flashing, that means that all those are muted. There's a difference between event and audio mute. I normally stay on audio mute. So what we want to do is work out something that will start off the track. And what I normally do is I just play with the track mutes. And I like that. So I like what I got going on over here. I'm going to play it for what it is. And this is how you would just track your stuff out here. Now you would get a nice little rhythm here. And if you want to on your tracks, like for example, if you know that you want these groups together, then we'll go over here to track group. So let's go over here to track group, and we can make every one of these pads right over here. Since we know they're drums, we'll put it into one mute group right here. Boom. Simple as that. And when we go back to track mute and we press that pad, we can press one of each of those and it will be in that group. And now you get the point. Now, the next thing I want to do is record all of these track mutes at once, because we have the bars or whatnot. So now that we have the bars, let's just go into the main screen here. Make sure that we have 64 bars just in case. And we'll go back into the track mutes, and then we'll automate that. So right here, so right at the top right side of the screen, you can turn it on and it will be in red. So that's when you know you're doing your track mutes. So let's go ahead and begin. You can just hit play start and the automation will take its course. I like it. Once you're done with everything from your track mutes, you want to turn off your automation. If you just so happen to mess up at any time, you can use the undo button. But what I want to do is just show you that you can control your automation. What you can do is hit the erase button. And then once you hit the erase button on your MPC, you can go to your automation. You can select parameters all, and then you can hit do it, and that'll erase all those automations. Now at this point, we need to save this beat because we made a certified banger, or at least I hope you guys like it. You know, I don't think it's a certified banger. So the first thing you need to do if you want to save your beat is press and hold shift, and then hit the load button, which the undertone of that is save. And now we can save either on the MPC, which I do not recommend, or on your SD card. So what I'll do is I'll make a new folder. We'll call that new folder Akai, because I don't have an MPC One Gen 2 folder. So I'm going to call it Akai MPC One Gen 2 G2 projects. Organization is the key, gang. After that, projects, we'll go over here. Now we have a projects folder, and we'll name the beat. You know, I name my shit like, you know, my R&B stuff like R&B Tendo instead of Trap Tendo. So I know it's an R&B beat. Just a way I like to kind of flip my name. And then I'll call this first beat. Boom. Then we'll hit do it. Then we'll hit save, and boom. It is saved. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about, because you will probably notice in the audio that it was a little louder. I have this main track here. You always will have your main track. It is muted right now. That's cool. What I normally do is I delete it. I delete that track. So now it will sound totally different from what it was before, because it's not overlapping the audio. And you only do that when you explode your tracks on the new MPCs or the new MPC OS. It allows you to delete your old drum program or whatnot that you had separated or whatnot, and that will stop anything from being double loud unless you want that. From here, if you want to do some mixing, like on certain sounds, like for an instance here, we have this sample. You want to keep it cool, and you see that it's represented right here. You can mix it down. I'm cool with it being like this. And then you can go and mix some other stuff. There's other ways that you can mix too. Like if you hit this, let me go ahead and go back to the main screen. This button right here will allow you to see all your tracks. You can do pan and volume, and you can see all of the stuff on the screen simultaneously, and all the automation will run right through here so you know what you're mixing. You can select those tracks. You can also pan certain aspects, and yeah, you'll get an eclectic track. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. I just wanted to show you guys how you can make your first beat on the MPC One Gen 2. Nothing much has changed from making a beat on any of the older MPCs. It's just, you know, you get more processing power, a whole lot more processing power, and 4 gigs of RAM, which is cool. You know, I'm not here to debate any of that stuff with you, some of you guys. I just want to show you guys how easy it is to make your first beat. And if you like this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you would drop a like. That's free. You can also purchase your MPC One, which doesn't have any additional or hidden costs or whatnot. The link is in the description box. And I really would appreciate if you would go over to 16levels.com and get my MPC One Masterclass, which I do update from time to time. This being the time, seeing there's a new MPC and a new OS, I would love that. I would really love that.